are. YouTube has got some issues this week. Let me mute my desktop. Always takes a while to set this up. So if you're watching on the replay, just, skip through the first couple of minutes while I set up the chat. I can only do it on a premiere like ahead of time, but I can't do it on a live. I have to do it like during the live. Hey, Sandra. Hey, Kathy. Oops. I set up the wrong goal. Let me fix that. Okay. Let's try that again. There we go. We'll set it for all colors. See if that'll work. Hey, Don. Oh, thank you, Sandra. Hi, Brian. Hello, Nathan. Let me look something up here, too, because somebody, YouTube doesn't tell me. They don't send me a notification if somebody joins the membership. And I see that Mostly Dolls Helicopters became a member a couple days ago, but I wasn't notified of that. I had to see it on the back end. So remind me to thank them if they come into the live. Oh, thank you for the thumbs up. Okay, now let me try to get the video on my screen, on my desktop screen, to catch up with the one on the camera on the phone. Hey, July. Hey, Rita Close. Nice to see everybody. Just going to give it a few more minutes to let some people come in. I really am going to try to start making these videos shorter, but I do have to recap some information here. We got to go over a few things. There's so much confusion because of the updates that have come out on this case in the last couple days. Hey, Kelsers. Yeah, she says, don't forget to like and subscribe, everybody. Yeah, I'm only like, let's see where I'm at right now, the count. The subscriber count is at 3,490. That's pretty cool. Like if I got 10 more today, I'd be at 3,500. So we'd be halfway between the 3,000 and the 4,000 mark, and we'll always have a party, 1,000, 2,000, 3,000, 4,000. So let's get closer to that party. And then we'll just go for the big kahuna. We'll go for 5K. Now, that's still a small YouTube channel, but for me, that's huge. So I'll be happy with that. And then I won't concentrate so much on the numbers. I just want to be able to, put all that aside and be out making my videos. 29 people in the house. Everybody give me a thumbs up. Hit those red hearts on your screen. It helps the algorithm. It really does. All the comments in the chat, the thumbs up, the red hearts, the smiley faces, that helps push the video out on YouTube because it shows YouTube that people are engaged. Thank you. Well, there's a lot to talk about, but this is just in my humble opinion. Remember, I'm not investigating this case. I'm only reporting it, and everybody here is innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. Okay, 34 people in the room. Let me get started. I'm April Davis, PI. I'm a licensed California private investigator. Once again, I am not working the Nancy Guthrie case in any way whatsoever. I'm simply reporting it. I did put it in the thumbnail. Let's see. Let me go to my content. Can I see my thumbnail? Because I can't see it on my camera. Oh, 144 days. Okay. Just want to confirm it's day number 144. Wait. What do you mean wait? What's your question? Is it going to be? I hope it's not going to be a troll question. I don't think I want to wait. Hey, Judy. Yeah, I figured that. Okay, goodbye. Hey, respect and importance. Thank you for the flower. I didn't even see it because I was busy taking out this troll. Okay, I want to recap this. especially about the ransoms, the order that everything came, and where all this confusion has come. Because remember, the last couple days, somebody leaked information that apparently it's starting to sway that it's true, and the media is running with it, and that forced Savannah to come out and make another statement. But there's still a mass amount of confusion. And so, I'm not working this case, I'm just reporting it. And there's so much misinformation out there. So I'm going to try to straighten it up, put it in a neat little package with a nice little bow on the top so everybody can understand what page we're on here. Hey, Jay. Hey, Solid Gold. There's a lot of confusion. And it's not just on behalf of TMZ. They've actually done a very good job reporting on this case. The original ransom note arrived on February the 2nd. Remember, Nancy was kidnapped from her home in the middle of the night, early morning hours of February 1st. By the next day, although we didn't know about it until the 3rd, because the first ransom apparently went to some of the local news stations before I think even TMZ had theirs, because they had theirs on the 3rd. But the first set of ransoms asked for $4 million in Bitcoin, and it needed to be paid in 4 days. And if that wasn't met in 4 days, then the amount was going to go up, and then they would have 3 days. Now, apparently there was a second ransom that was sent to TMZ and the news stations because they didn't make that 4-day deadline. So it was raised from 4 million in Bitcoin to 6 million. And if they didn't get paid in 3 days, then they would quote unquote kill her. Okay. I shouldn't really say that on my YouTube channel. And there is a lot of paper around me. So I have, itchy again from the paper. I already went through my sneezing fit before I came on the air. Hey, respect importance. So, besides these first 2 ransoms, apparently there was another note that wasn't a ransom note that went into one of the Tucson local TV stations that basically stated that she had accidentally been unalived. Okay. That did not go to TMZ. That was not the second ransom. The first ransom was 4 million. The second ransom note was 6 million. Give it to us in 3 days or else. Nothing was paid, by the way. But then that same week, this note, it was apparently February the 6th. I believe that was on a Friday, that stated, it didn't really apologize, but it let everybody know that she was gone, accidentally unalived, and then all communications stopped. Okay. Now, eventually down the road, we had Derek Colella, text ransom guy. And eventually down the road, we had these at least a dozen or more. They said around a dozen. That's the third set of ransoms. I call that the 1 Bitcoin ransom guy. Completely different writer, at least so they think. The FBI thought that the first 2 ransoms were legit because they had definitive, specific information about things at the home that only the perpetrators would know. So when this note that was not a ransom note, but basically a death notice came in, that's when the family was, basically informed of this. And by the next day, on Saturday, February the 7th, Savannah with her siblings, remember that sitting right next to her, wasn't her first Instagram, or she put it out on Instagram on various outlets. It was a social media posting that was obviously scripted, the first one and the second one. She, in a kind of a roundabout way, said, we're listening, we're willing to pay, we would like to celebrate her. But she was very careful how she worded that, because she didn't want to say, we want to have a funeral, a celebration of life. We want to celebrate with her. But from that point on, I thought, they know something. There's something that's not being reported, and they know that she's already gone. Hello, Ash Cash. But, obviously they would want to get the body back and they would want to find out who did this. So I think from February 6th on, Savannah and family knew that she was dead. And no money, no ransom money was ever paid into that Bitcoin account by the FBI or by Savannah Guthrie. However, the FBI did seed it a bit. And the first report was 300. The subsequent reports are now 152. But everything just went radio silent, so to speak. I don't know who that is, Light. Uh, and it's just, all of this is just, in my humble opinion, that this is how it went down. Now, recall the day before yesterday, this information was leaked about this so-called death notice. And that's why yesterday, live on the Today Show, Savannah made a statement basically saying, how upset they still are and they still want her back and, they're suffering. But she's not confirming or denying anything about that note. And I don't mean the ransom notes. I mean the note basically unapologetically saying that she was accidentally unalived. And that tells me a whole lot because I've always thought that these yahoos were amateurs because professional kidnappers, like people have suggested the Mexican drug cartel, they would have taken her medication. They wouldn't have spent 41 minutes in the house and it would have been a done deal in less than a week. That's all I'm saying. Okay. And remember, Savannah and two of her co-hosts were wearing black yesterday. Now, also yesterday, Harvey Levin made a statement about, hey, we were going to do a documentary and we were going to pay the Bitcoin guy. We were going to pay that 1 Bitcoin, but only with approval of the FBI. But since we made that offer, we put it on the table, they've ghosted us. Well, yesterday they did receive contact from an FBI person who's involved in this case, who said, no, stand down, don't make that documentary. Don't send anybody any money because we have a lead. We're getting closer, yada, yada, yada. And apparently at that time, we're not talking about him today, so I have to take you out. Everybody knows the rules here. Okay. Apparently, by that time, the FBI may have mentioned that they thought perhaps those approximately 12 notes that Harvey kept saying, oh, I'm not going to keep talking to this guy. And then, they'd get another one and another one. Then he'd bring it up again and again and again. Okay. They think that that person could be a female. And of course, everybody yesterday, when I made my second video, because, whoops, there went my lighting. That video came out last night, my second live, because I had my first live about Savannah and her speech yesterday. And then I had my second live once this information came out about the female. So if you haven't seen the second one or the first one, go watch them. Go rewatch them. Go see the replays. Now people started, throwing names out there. Like, oh, it's Annie, Well, first of all, by then, the police and the FBI were heavily investigating Annie and Tommaso. They had their house, their cars, their electronics. There's no way they were sitting over there in the Airbnb with Savannah sending those notes. It's just not even possible because all their movements were being tracked. They were being heavily surveilled because initially, Tommaso Cioni, if you believe what Ashley Banfield's source said, he was the prime suspect. He was the only suspect. However, then I even for a moment, I thought about, well, who are the women that are involved in this or in this whole, not the case itself, but the whole three-ring circus, soap opera, whatever you want to call it. And I thought about Kayla Day, but then I realized, like, no, she was already picked up for not appearing in court on those drug-related warrants that were connected to Luke Daly. She was already incarcerated by the night of February 12th. And as far as I know, she has not got out. last time I tried to check, the system was down. But I know that Luke is going to court in August on those same charges. Yeah, we don't know where Annie Tomaso's hiding out or why. I have my opinions on that, but remember the stick video I sent you? No, I don't think I have that. Sorry. So I don't think it's Kayla Day, although we don't know what Kayla Day might have said when her butt was in a pinch, because remember, from the time this happened, both the Tucson Police Department and the Pima County Sheriff's Department, every time somebody was arrested and brought in, they would say, oh, by the way, do you have any information on the Nancy Guthrie case? So she might have said something, which then got, Luke and Mary, got their house raided. Who knows? But she couldn't be this third ransom writer because she's behind bars. I think if it is a female, and that's a big if, that it's the wife or the girlfriend of one of the perps. Because remember, I don't think this was a professional operation. And not everybody involved in this could be American or, raised in this country. Maybe they were, maybe they weren't. We don't know what countries or ethnicity of people are involved. And me being an Angelino, where there's I think over 110 different countries that live here, and I have friends from all over the world, even the ones that, speak fluent English. When you speak English as a second language and you are raised in a home with parents that speak their ethnic language, uh, people that are bilingual, but they're from or their heritage is from other countries and they're in a non-English speaking home, sometimes when people say they're trying to say things in English, they'll get their words mixed up, or the sentence structure will not be right. And they'll say weird things like, one of the weird things could be, she's buried in nature. And we're all going, what? That's a weird. But it wouldn't be weird if perhaps English was your second language. And they do think that those notes were written by an educated person. They also, for whatever reason, believe it could be a female. Apparently, they are being signed with male names, multiple male names, but they're all coming from the same, I think they're all coming from the same email address. 2 men and 1 woman in stick figure videos. I don't think I have that. Solid Gold says I'm right. Hello, Real McCoy. Thank you, Jay. Please look for that again. Nina says, do not ignore Nancy Guthrie case investigation is on hold. They found a possible suspect. I'm in contact with private investigator Bill Garcia, who confirmed this is true. Well, I hope that's true, Nina. Nancy Guthrie investigation is on hold. Well, I think it's been on hold for a long time with the Pima County Sheriff. I hope that they do have somebody, or they're looking for somebody. I hope. Because one day it's implied that they're close, and then the next day it's implied that maybe that single hair strand didn't pan out, and we're back to square one, and the case has cooled down. So I very much hope that information is accurate. Now, those third set of ransom notes, not the first couple that were sent to TMZ and the news, and not the non-ransom note, but the death ransom or the death notice, and not the ones that were sent by Derek Colella, who, by the way, his trial, I believe, is July 2nd in Tucson. But the third set, where Harvey was like, I'm not going to deal with this guy anymore. But then he'd write again, and it just kept going on and on and on. Just kept going further down the rabbit hole. Those are the ones that they think is female. That person, whoever wrote those notes, did imply be prepared to go international, did imply that she was seen in Mexico. I was not high on that. Oh, Kayla Day has a slight gap between her teeth, just throwing that out there. Okay. Thanks for letting me know. I do think, though, that front porch guy is a guy. But, the way he had the holster and he had the gun in reverse and just amateurish. Uh, It's almost, if it wasn't such a sad, hideous crime, it would almost be comical. Uh, Now, FBI is saying they may be closing in on Front Porch Guy, but then I'm also hearing that they have not been successful with the hair strand. Um, it seems to me that at this point, they are relying that a significant other, such as a wife, girlfriend, whatever, like a scorned lover, as they put it, is the most likely person to crack the case. But that could take years uh, for some woman who scorned to be sitting on this information and decide that she's going to go after the guy. Because right now, nobody's coming forward that we know of. Now, this doesn't change my mind at all as far as who I think is involved, who Front Porch Guy may be. And if it's not him, I still think the person that I named is involved in this. Uh, I do I do say I'll say it again. I think these people involved, and I do say it's a group. They were amateurs. I don't know if they were just working together as a group or they were working underneath a ringleader. I think panic happened when she died. Real kidnappers, they would have taken her drugs, they would have kept her alive. They wouldn't have been in a house for at least 41 minutes. This would have been like a business transaction and it would already have been done and complete. Um, Now, I do believe that the Pima County Sheriff from day one compromised the scene. Now, does that mean they're involved or that they're covering for somebody or that they're just that effing stupid? I don't know why they compromised the scene before the FBI got there. I'm not that impressed with Cash Patel's FBI. Uh, I'm glad they're involved because if it was just up to Pima County Sheriff, this would never get solved. I'm glad they have resources that the local police don't have as far as CSI things and DNA and labs but if they're just waiting on a single rootless hair strand, which they may already have the results for and maybe they got nothing, um, and they're going to have to rely on a witness to come forward and, sing like a bird, that tells me that this could go on for years. Now, hopefully, hopefully this person that just came into my chat who says, hold everything, Nancy Guthrie case investigation is on hold. They found a possible suspect. I hope that's true. And I can't say if I agree or disagree with Bill Garcia. And remember, that whole situation opened up a whole new can of worms because I was following one of those hokey Facebook groups regarding the Nancy Guthrie case. And, some lady just willy nilly said that, PIs have such an advantage over law enforcement because they can just, walk into any state and cross borders and, start conducting investigations, which is totally not true. And I'm not even going to get into that again. It already raised my blood pressure enough because people that are uneducated and are not in the PI business, and most people aren't in the PI business or they don't even know PIs. Uh, they'll read that on a Facebook site and they'll run with that information. Um, you know, no, it's not Magnum PI. It's not Charlie's Angels. It's nothing that you've ever seen in television or the movies. Uh, that hair strand gives you nothing unless you have more DNA evidence. Um, it depends on what they find, but I don't think that's going to pan out. But that's just me feeling negative today. Um, I like that Kelzers, though. That's so funny. Kayla Day has a slight gap between her teeth. I never knew that. uh, Kelzer says, like, yeah, I think he's a guy too. Wasn't there fingerprints on one of the letters? There are no letters because they've all been sent electronically. If you're talking about the ransom notes. Hey, Matt. Hey, Suzanne. I find that everything I read on the internet is true. Usually it's the opposite, DS. Um, so my mind hasn't changed. I'm just trying to clear up some of the confusion in this case. There's a lot of it. Um, and if you didn't know, YouTube is still having problems. I still haven't got the video back on the back end, the one that had the 20,000 views in just a few hours. I think you guys can still see it. I have not got to my community tab yet because I wanted to post that video of Clyde Allen Green, also known on YouTube as the Lackawanna Kid. I still am going to post that. He did tag me in one of his videos last night. I'm not sure why, but oh gosh. I love my YouTubers, though. I love my YouTube friends, whether they're creators or they're just viewers. I appreciate every single one of you. And I appreciate everybody that's out busting their hump to keep this case relevant. Um, but, I can't possibly go on every day for the rest of my life, for an hour at a time saying, well, here's the latest on Nancy Guthrie. Um, I will have to, I will report when something breaks, but, how many times have you heard me say everybody is innocent until proven guilty? We can speculate all day long, but we as the public have a very small piece of a big puzzle. It's like having 50 pieces of a 500-piece puzzle. The pieces aren't all going to fit properly when we're missing so many of the pieces. The latest is she is DEAD. Well, so they're saying, yeah, but I think that's pretty much common sense. Mostly Dolls Helicopters coming in for the first super chat of the day, Canadian $2. Thank you so much. Always appreciated. Yeah, and it's already the 24th, and June is a short month, so I've only got like 6 days left to earn money to put my totals a little higher. And I have to say that I have more views this month than I had in March, April, and May, but the income is actually going down. I don't know how that can be. Oh, I guess I'm not making enough money on the views yet, or I don't have enough views yet. Were the relatives really ruled out or not? Only by Sheriff Nanos, but the FBI hasn't ruled anybody out. But I could tell by the sound of Savannah's voice that she still strongly believes that her family's not involved. And they may not be. Just because they're a bit strange and there's a lot of things that don't add up doesn't mean that they're involved. 1999? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Thank you. I appreciate it. Wow, DSMJ. Thank you so much. Everybody, give DSMJ 79 or 7389 a thumbs up. You can even reply on that, I guess, because it's such a large one. There's another guy that I watch that's been reporting on this from Ecuador, and he's had a heart problem that's similar to mine, and he's been hospitalized in Ecuador. And he is a former convicted felon of drug-related issues most of his life, but seems to have completely changed his life and reformed. He's quite interesting because he'll talk about this from a criminal's perspective, but he was in that, cardiac critical care unit like I was here, multiple times over the last, 2 to 3 years, and I kinda like hearing it from, like I said, a criminal's perspective too, and he's pretty smart on, because he sees it from a criminal's perspective about, "No, this didn't happen," or "That happened," or "This didn't happen," and, he's always stuck to the same, path as I have always stuck to the same path. And last night when I was watching, a replay, because he just got out of the hospital, but he still seems like he's quite ill, I saw one of my viewers that comes here, and I'm not gonna mention her name, but, she's one of my regulars, and she's also donated quite a few super chats to my channel. I saw her in a replay of his channel, and she threw a $50 super chat, and I was like, "Wow, that lady just threw a $50 super chat." And then I looked, and I was like, "Hey, she comes into my shows." Like, I don't think that's ever happened to me, but, that I thought that was cool, like, wow, you never know. You never know. So thank you. It's much appreciated. Even the penny jewels. I'm up to 15 cents today in jewels. um, Dino, almost certain the family has nothing to do with this. They may not. Um, Savannah went back to work due to contracts. She has a ton of money. Yes, ma'am, Jay. Having contracts, uh, she's legally bound to work for the company. But they did say NBC said they would give her as much time as she needed. Uh, he has a very interesting perspective. Oh, the guy from Ecuador, yeah. Oh, thank you for the star. Appreciate that. Also, Julie sent a floating heart. Thank you so much. The star was from Mostly Dolls Helicopters. Oh no, it's our regular troll, Wavy Gravy. Well, thank you for the clicks, Wavy, but I'm putting you in another 24-hour timeout. Goodbye. Everybody don't respond to my trolls. Uh, Losses will make you go broke even for the ones with the big money. Hence popularity of settling. Okay. Don't know where that's coming from, but okay. Um, there is some minimum or YouTube holds on to it. Well, YouTube takes a big percentage out of it. And if it's like that 1999 super chat, uh, that was probably sent from an Apple device because I could never figure that out. Like some would say 20 and some would say 1999, or somebody would send two, but another person's would show up as $1.99. And I found out the ones that round off or don't round off that are 99, those are sent from Apple devices. And Apple takes a 30% cut. And then after their 30% cut, the net of that, then Google, who owns YouTube, takes another 30%. So that 1999 ends up being less than $10, but still, I'm not complaining. But yeah, but the ones that are like $2 or $5 or $10 or $20, those that are sent by Android devices or sent by desktop computers or laptops, those round off to 00, and then it's just the standard 30%. Now, when we get paid though, monthly, and they're a month behind, so any June money won't be paid till at the very earliest July 21st. If we don't hit a minimum a minimum of 100 for the month, then it carries over to the next month. Um, yeah, so the iPhones are on the 99 cents. Yep. It's true. It took me a long time to figure that out because so many of my friends that are YouTubers say, oh, they take a 30% cut. Because I was briefly monetized in the past. It was very, very brief. And I could never figure that out. And everybody's like, yeah, they just take 30%. And I'm like, how come mine are coming out to be almost half? And then I figured that out why. Like $1.99 super thanks would be 98 cents. And I'm like, that doesn't add up to 30%. You know, math was always my best subject. So now it depends on what device and if it's Apple connected or not. Look at DeSalvo. Most of his victims were old women. Yeah, I don't know who that is. Um, you get a subscribe for that good intel. Thank you. Let me see who you are. Tony. Thank you. Thank you, Tony. That picture looks like my mom's town, Tucson. That is the Tucson desert. That's my green screen for the day. I lived there for 50 years. Now live just north of Show Low. Oh wow, cool. Samsung is better. Screw Apple. I'm on Apple. But Samsung would be Android. No, I'm not concerned with it. I'm just explaining it because somebody asked the question. Somebody posed the question in this chat, Dino. Sounds better to send merch or gift cards to you from Amazon to maximize your benefit. Sometimes, I mean, these help because it shows YouTube that people are watching. DeSalvo was a Boston Strangler, I think. Oh, okay. You know, I've heard that there may be a serial killer that's in Illinois right now. That there's a certain part of Illinois. I'd have to research it more, but there's a town in Illinois where they think they may have a serial killer on the loose. So I'm going to have to look more into that. Um, that is the lifestyle of the grifter. Do what I tell you to do, but don't do what I do. Okay. Compound night. Do we know if kidnapper knew victim was mother of a famous and loved news host? Probably. That's why she was targeted. Is it possible the perpetrator was not trying to keep Nancy alive? Uh, Based on what I know now, I don't think so. I think it was just a kidnapping and it went wrong. remember, I talked about Fargo from the very beginning of this case, and I talked about the John Benet Ramsey case from the very beginning of this. And I talked about the number one factor was the Savannah Guthrie factor. I heard you will get dollars from comments, likes, and subs. No, I get paid for views now that I'm monetized. Am I from Arizona? No, I'm not. I'm from California. Um, Jay says great because she's in Indiana. Yeah, I'll have to look that up, Jay. They think they may have a serial killer. It might have been Elgin, Illinois, but I'll have to look. Edward Curtis says they have one in Texas too that shot 6 people in different incidents. Oh, wow. I don't have any. Maggie says, "Where's my root beer for hydration?" I've got my Activia, and I've got a lot of almost like less than half empty waters in front of me. There's like 5 drinks in front of me right now. But no root beer, no diet ginger beer. Is that what you meant, the diet ginger beer? It's getting harder and harder to get it. But I really do need to hydrate with, water more. Because I've suffered from this problem for many years about hydration. Uh, yeah, so also I watched some of the Harvey Levin videos again today. I watched one that I hadn't seen before because they're still trying to clear up all this confusion too. But he did admit that yesterday morning he was contacted by the FBI and they were like, stand down. We talked about that in last night's video, and that they thought that the person might be a female that's writing the third set of ransoms. But I'm hoping the person that came in here that said they may be getting ready to make a move on somebody, I hope that that's true. Uh, in Dallas is where it started. You could look it up for yourself. It's going on right now. What's going on in Dallas? A serial killer? The number one threat when it comes to serial killers are truck drivers. I hadn't heard that. Jay says nothing new in Illinois. Oh, I also wanted to bring up the theory about the Indian reservation, the Tonahoe Autumn Nation. Apparently, that goes, for over 100 miles through southern Arizona and crosses the border. Part of it crosses the Mexican border. Part of that reservation is on the Mexico side. A good part of it is all around Tucson. And there is the main border crossing about 60, 70 miles south of Tucson at the Port of Nogales. And then there's a smaller one at Mariposa, which is like the truck crossing. And I researched this last night. Apparently they closed the gates at 10 p.m. on the Mariposa. Oh, thank you for what is it? The turn it up, kitty. It was covering your message. Thank you so much. The one at Mariposa Crossing, it closes every day at 10 p.m. The main one at Port of Nogales, which is just south of Tucson, that's the closest crossing, it's open 24 hours a day. But they're more on high alert at night than they are in the daytime. There's no way somebody drove across that. But this Indian reservation, this Tonahoe Autumn Nation, which is apparently huge, and it goes for hundreds of square miles, and it's 100 miles wide at the border. Part of it, which is even part of the nation itself, the reservation, is in Mexico and the United States. That excuse me, even though they have their own police department, um, they do allow FBI to cross in there, and they do work with the FBI. And like any police department, most everybody's on the up and up, but there's always like bad seeds in every department. There's always corruption. And it's very possible that there could be a corrupt person involved that allows people to come over because apparently that's a high area for illegal alien trafficking and drug trafficking. Um, there's a lot of canals there on the border. There's no gate or fence apparently. It's just open, and people like maybe potentially, well, let's just say a lot of people a year can go back and forth, even though it's not legal to do so. It does happen, and there are like cracks in the system, so to speak. Uh, it's a lot easier than I thought it was. Yeah, it would draw a lot of attention because it's mostly dirt roads. However, however, uh, I was kind of poo-pooing that idea that, she may have been crossed into Mexico through a reservation, but now I realize that that's much more of a possibility than I thought it was. And remember, the third set of ransom said be prepared to go international, which I wasn't necessarily thinking Mexico at the time. But then some of the subsequent letters said that she had been seen in Mexico or she was in Mexico. And so now that I've heard an expert, someone who I can't remember, I think he was with one of the police departments, or I can't remember. He was an ex law enforcement agent, a retired agent, and he was like a specialist when it came to dealing with the Indian nations. And apparently, it's a lot more common than we would think as far as people going back and forth and, illegal activities going across the border. Lots of dirt roads on the border, Jay says. Kelser sent the makeup brush. I definitely need a real makeup brush. Yeah. uh, how am I so high up? That's because I have a green screen. Uh, are they all nefarious? No, I don't think so at all. I think most people are good. But it takes, one bad apple to spoil the whole bunch. So there are cracks in the system. Uh, someone that kidnaps someone for money, if they effed up, will continue on trying to get money. Yeah. Not in this particular kidnapper because money had nothing to do with it. Well, we don't know that yet. Remember, revenge or money, Savannah factor, or somebody close to her, or a combination of the two. The serial killer types, they're not necessarily addicted to murder like the FBI says they are. They can go on without killing anyone for years and decades. That's true too. Oh, in the end, serial killing is about power and control. Yeah, same thing about S assault. Um, let's see. Most cops are idiots. No, I would disagree with that. Uh, I live behind the Hollywood sign. Yes, I do, Edward. I absolutely do because I have that as one of my green screens, and I'm behind the Hollywood sign. Um, the system works very well, to be honest. Yeah, there's always like a dirty cop, and I wanted to give Nanos the benefit of the doubt at the beginning of this, crazy story, but now I'm not sure because we hear all the rumors that he's really good, like fishing and boating buddies with Tommaso, and you know, um, Kelser says Nanos is dirty. It's quite possible. Um, yes, I have heard that, Fabuloso. Did you hear they have found 25 bodies in search for Nancy in an unmarked grave? Yes, and I believe that is true. That's on the Mexico side near the Mariposa crossing. That's in or near a stream under a tree. Yes, that's true. Uh, as far as I know. However, that brings up the point that they should have been searching, if let's just say she was somewhere in the Tucson area, they should have started the ground searches right away, even if she wasn't, because they probably would have found other people, as what they have now done in Mexico. Um, that's actually true, Kelsers. I've read that they found 25 other people. Um, that's crazy, but they have, and they're still looking, by the way, but they can only do it when they have police protection because Mexico is that dangerous that even when, Mexicans in Mexico are searching, they have to have protection at the border because it's Sonora, Mexico is a dangerous place. Um, no, I don't know if they were in the same grave or they were separate graves. Now, somebody, I can't remember who it was, but they made a point last night in one of these interviews that I've been making from the start. From the start. Oh, mostly Dallas Helicopters sent the thumbs up. Thank you so much. Hey, we're up to 429 in Jules. That's pretty good. Um, so anyway, um, we're not talking about the cartel, Dina. um, what was I saying now? We talked about the 25 graves. Oh, the desert. I've said from the very beginning that come spring and come summer, especially this time of year, specifically from June 15th on, see those clouds in the background? That's monsoonal moisture. And literally, a dry bed stream that has no water in it, can have up to 8 feet of water in it within seconds. And that happens, in Las Vegas. That happens outside of, LA, in LA County and Kern County and San Bernardino County, where these monsoonal storms come. And not only do you have lightning and thunder, which here often starts our summer fires, but you could be in a dry creek bed or one of those canals that they have in Arizona or Mexico, and those monsoonal storms come, and all of a sudden there's just this giant wave. They say the same thing about the LA River, that concrete basin. Don't get into it because even though it could be perfectly sunny outside, it could be storming, further to the north, and all of a sudden the water's just going to, you know, and you could never get out. And you know, they don't have the concrete basins there, I believe, like we have here in LA. So especially more towards Mexico. So if you've got a body out in the desert, whether it's on the Mexican side or the American side, when those monsoonal summer storms come, there's just a raging river and it can actually drag a body 40 to 50 miles away. It drags clothing, bodies, bones. Uh, Even if somebody tossed a weapon into one of those basins, those monsoonal storms come and there's just raging, rapid rivers. And this is why, if they were going to start searching around Tucson and extend their net a little further into the desert to either the south or to the north, that they should have started before this oppressive heat and these monsoonal storms, because any evidence that's there now, if she is in the desert and she wasn't specifically buried, because we didn't know about that until, you know, 2 days ago, that she may have been buried, it would just carry everything away. And if she was buried in a shallow grave, you know, God forbid that the wildlife already got to it. And now the body is exposed to the elements. And now we get one of those monsoonal storms, or, Arizona, Mexico gets one of those monsoonal storms, and it's gone. So, they could be working on tips as to where she is, and she may not even be there anymore. Um, and that body is the number one piece of evidence. Um, Hopefully the suspect just sends a map of where she's buried. I would hope so, Kelsers, but I doubt it. Um, Most tips are bogus, especially when money is involved. Exactly, and that's why the FBI, they can't just at willy-nilly start paying ransoms without proof of life. Um, what I don't understand is why take this lady in the first place? What could be their motive for taking her and harming her? Because she is the mother of Savannah Guthrie, who is a multimillionaire. That's the first thing I thought of when she was reported as missing, long before any of us knew this was a kidnapping. The night that she was reported, it happened during the day. It was reported to the AP by Sunday night, the 1st. And I was like, oh my God, the 84-year-old mother of TV show, Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, like, oh my God, she's been kidnapped because of Savannah Guthrie. Because I'm a PI and I work with celebrities my whole career. I'm mostly retired now, but this stuff happens. Doesn't happen often with an 84-year-old mother, but she is related to a celebrity. Celebrities have targets on their back, and wealthy people have targets on their back. So if you have both fame and money, you have a giant bullseye on your back, and so does everybody in your circle, including your family. Um, Hobble one says, I used to hike all over Chiapas, Jalisco, and other Mexican states to study rainforest protection. Wow. I had an exhibit in Natural History Museum. I wouldn't go now. Pretty much. I could understand that. Exactly. If you just start paying ransoms, you start getting more kidnappings. Sure. I understand why the money wasn't paid, and the FBI was telling Savannah, like, no, don't pay the money. It depends on the situation, Dino. Yes, Hobble one says saguaro cactuses uh, behind me have beautiful flowers in the spring. Yes, they do. Thank you, Jacqueline. Are you new here? Hi, I was just thinking about you and I like your videos. Well, thank you. I hope you're subscribed. I got 71 people in the room and I got 42 thumbs up. Let's see where the count is. And it's, of course, it's behind the tripod that's holding the camera, so I have to bend like this. Oh, I'm up to 34.95, which means I've gained 5 during this broadcast. Uh, Savannah Guthrie is her daughter, who's super famous. Are you on the same page as the rest of us, Dino? Um, I hope you're being facetious here. Okay, now my page is stuck. Oh boy, computer is stuck. I gotta reload my YouTube page and reload my video so I can actually see the chat on the big screen. Got to reset everything. Do I know anything about an argument that happened while the family was out to dinner the night of her disappearance, and who was at the dinner? I heard the dinner was at her house, and I don't know how anybody would know about it since she never made it to her friend's house the next morning for the church service. Boston Bill, hello, my friend. Jacqueline says, no, I've been watching you since Nancy Guthrie. Oh, okay. Thank you. Uh, Sonoma was beautiful and tropical, but worst place on earth now. Yeah, I wouldn't even go on vacation. I was going to go down to the border to Tijuana with my Thai family and a guy that worked for me who was actually born in Mexico, but he has lived in the US since he was a little boy and he's a citizen. He said, don't go. And this was a Mexican who worked for me. And he was like, don't go, don't go. And he begged me. And he was a retired police officer. And he was like, don't go. So we didn't go. And then I told my friend, she took a few cruises that stopped in Mexico. And I was like, she said, do you want to go? And I was like, no, I don't think it's safe. And when she came back, even though she has a green card, they gave her a problem at the border. They held her for like 4 hours and questioned her. She has a green card. And I'm like, you're not going on any more cruises to Mexico. Like, that's not happening. Because if something happens to you down there, we can't get you out. Tijuana was like San Jose, California, Skid Row in 77. I didn't know that. Fabuloso says, no one does ransoms anymore. Um, well, that's not quite true, but it's not as much as you would think it was. I still think family is involved. Can't change my mind. Okay. Everybody's entitled to their opinion. But on my channel, I'm not going to publicly name who I think is involved. And all the recent developments that have happened over the last couple days, the last few hours, yesterday things were really popping on this case. It still hasn't changed my mind as far as who I think is involved in this. I have a business email on my page. Julie Lynn Bauman. Yeah, my business email is on my page. All my links are on my main channel page. Email, business address, all my links. Yeah, you can't just randomly pay ransoms when you don't have no proof of life. You just can't do it. It sets a very bad precedence or precedence. What am I trying to say? But I think Savannah, she even wanted to put up the $1 million reward right away. And they said, no, don't do it because the tip lines are already like clogged. Do I ever listen to Dolly Vision? I don't think so. There's so many people that are reporting, and there's only 24 hours in my day. I've heard of that lady Dolly. That's the spirit box reader that's in Australia, and I've heard this name, but I don't listen to Dolly Vision. I don't think. Uh, let's see. Kelzers, I missed that. She said, I never heard about an argument at Annie's house. Well, nobody would have known because she was taken home that night by Tommaso, allegedly, and a few hours later, she was kidnapped. So she wouldn't have had time to discuss that dinner. She would have come home and gone to bed and got up the next morning to go to church, but not at a physical church, at a person's house. It was reported that she was out to dinner that was dropped off at home by her son-in-law. Yeah, you need to see the whole series on Nancy Guthrie. Go to my playlist. Yeah, 110 and 112 in the daytime now. Oh, you mean in Tucson? Jay says there's so much bias over this case. There's so much incompetency in this case. Absolutely. Oh, he's just another JLR type? Okay. Yeah, it's not a safe place. It's really sad if that's where she did meet her final moments. Sonora, Mexico, the state of Sonora, was the place that Charles Guthrie uh, passed away in 1988. Wouldn't that be kind of incredible? Both born in Kentucky and both passed in the state of Sonora, Mexico, or as they say in Mexico, Mexico. I will look for your email. Yes, in entire Arizona, over 100 in the daytime. Yeah, it's hotter in Arizona in the summer than it is in Vegas. It's just misery. It's kind of like Palm Springs. And I love Palm Springs, but oh, the weather. I just, I can't go to the beach and treasure hunt anymore because of my disabilities, but I'm a beach bunny. I'm not a desert rat, and I'm not a snowbird either. Uh, I do know the Dolly is in Australia, but I don't watch her regularly. Uh, I'm still fascinated by Mexico's biodiversity, but that's going away. Don't know anything about that Hobble one. No, she was at Annie's home, Edward. She didn't go out to dinner, like, to a restaurant that night. She went over to her daughter's house, which was a pretty frequent thing. They were her caregivers, and she went over to her daughter and son-in-law's house with her grandson, to have dinner and game night, and that was on Saturdays usually. And then she also was with a group of neighbors and women friends that she would go out they would alternate between her house and other friends' houses for game night on Friday nights. Which I believe she had just recently had one at her house. Hey, Kathy. No, go ahead. Ask questions all you want, Edward. That's why we're here. We're all trying to figure out this together. The Las Vegas sun is beating you down like a stove. Oh, I know. Ugh. I have family that lives there, and I don't my niece lives there, I don't know how she does it. It's just horrific. And she once complained, she said, when my family decided to move, why did they pick a city like Las Vegas?" And she hates it there, but she's still there. She's been there her whole life, and she can't stand it. Um, can I name the neighbor? What neighbor? Yes, that's true. Jacqueline says her birthday was January 27th. Oh, thank you, Kelsers, for the gold coin. She should have put that woman into a group home or some nursing home. Apparently, she didn't want to go. Yeah, I've already seen a couple of them on the lady in Australia dolly or the other dolly. What about Nancy's neighbor? I'm lost here. Why didn't she just allow the woman to move in with her? I don't think she wanted to give up her house, her independence. But her health was declining. And Savannah said it was so bad, especially just her back, that she couldn't make it from the front door to the mailbox on some days. Hello, Renee Brown. So, I think had this never had happened and she was still with the living and she still lived at that house, you know, at some point, you only get older. You never get a day younger. You always get a day older every day. I think it would have come to that eventually that she would have needed some type of, permanent care. Nancy Grace's mother still lives with her, and she's around 94, I believe now, and she needs 24-hour a day round the clock care. But she's not in a nursing home. She lives with her. And that's public knowledge. If it wasn't, I wouldn't say that. Cozy Sunflower says, uh, elderly people can be stubborn. Supposedly, the sister got a call from a churchgoer that they didn't see Nancy in church, but they also said she did Zoom church viewings. Has that been clarified? Yes. Yeah, originally that's what, Nanos, who is just so inaccurate and he has so many contradictions, so many contradictory statements, said that. But the church that she used to belong to in Phoenix or Tucson, she hadn't actually been there since the pandemic. And she went to a group meeting in people's homes where they did a Zoom meeting, and it was a church in Manhattan that Savannah had taken her to. Annie Tomaso should have had Miss Nancy's cameras on their phones. It can cost less than $10 a month. We don't know that they didn't. Remember, there may have been more security systems in that house than we are aware of, and they may have temporarily been taken down, but that didn't stop that Nest doorbell that was running at that point off a battery, and that seemed to be a surprise to, you know, that moron who was front porch guy. They did make mistakes, but they had to have intimate knowledge of the property. I think this is not just some random kidnappers who, pointed her out because she was related to Savannah Guthrie. I think it was somebody with inside knowledge, but we will find out. The FBI agent I consulted with, who's not involved in this case in any way, said, well, sometimes people get lucky. James Smythe says no one wants to be institutionalized. Yeah, I'd be dead in a week. I'd rather die at home with my pets than to be in a nursing home. Um, Edward, another question. Is there a video or anything happening coming and going from the party or dinner. Nowadays, everybody has cameras. I go to dinner at my daughter's house, and she has a camera. We don't know what kinda systems they had at Annie Tomaso's. I don't even know what that means. I think Savannah was buying love? Nancy was able to be independent, but was ambushed. She didn't wander off. Absolutely, she didn't wander off. Okay. Julie says, "I'll email you an hour or so." Okay. I get to all my emails later in the evening, and I don't respond to everybody because there's so many of them now, but I will see it. Um, it will all fall together. Why I said Lake Rose or Puena Blanco. Blanco Lake? Never heard of that. Thank you for all your searching. Edward Curtis, my daughter really has at least 3 cameras covering left side, right side doorbell. That's just in the front. Yeah, make sure you have inside cameras too. Well, that's not true at all. There's no reason to live in such a big space for an 84-year-old woman with the mind of a 10-year-old. She was not even suffering from any type of dementia as far as I know. No such thing as an over the 80s, 80 independent person. I have a client in his 90s, and he's gone downhill the last year or so, but he's basically been on his own. Look at Trump, he can barely move around. Well, we're not talking about him today. So I'm going to give you the first warning, Dino. Don't mention him again, or I'll have to pause you. Um, that is why my mom moved in with me, 80 years young at heart. We chased my cat around my yard before her dialysis the morning she died. Oh, I'm sorry, Jay. Hobble one says a body was found down my street at 4 a.m., but cops didn't look at security cameras. Victim was poor, most likely. Americans are stupid. They can take in granny or granddad and use the Social Security to pay bills. Old people pretty much have free health care. That's not true at all. I'm in medical debt and I'm old. I'm still paying off stuff from my cancer treatment from 7 years ago, 6 years ago. It's Brianna. Oh, Brianna. Okay, your name. I thought you were talking about somebody else. Hello, Brianna. The average American home is an institution. We call it the poorhouse. My daughter has cameras everywhere. Nancy did not have the mind of a 10-year-old. Savannah would not have televised Nancy if true. Exactly. Do I know the name of the lake near her house? No, I don't. Renee, my next door neighbor is an 80-year-old lady. She's independent and has a 2-story house, but her family comes to visit every day. Yeah, Jay's correct too. And she's still young and beautiful, but olders do not have free health care. What dream world are you living in? What this is the United are you living in another country? The person who said that? Um, yeah, it depends on the person. I used to talk to a 100-year-old man at Denny's, and boy, he could talk. He rode a bike every day. Uh, oh, the desert background? Hypernova? Yeah, that's Tucson. Well, so I think. Yeah, whoever says it's free healthcare, you're living in a dream world. Yeah, there are some trolls in here, aren't there, Julie? Wow. Okay, I already warned you, we're not gonna talk about him, and so I gotta take you out, I'm sorry. Come back tomorrow. I'm right on it, Kelsers. Mm. How have you been? Yesterday, you were a bit under, yeah. I'm going through medication changes with the heart, and, last time I did that, I ended up back in the hospital and more surgery, so mentally, it's tough, and, I still feel like crap every day, but thank you for asking, Margaret. In Tucson, they just showed perpetrators on news stole 40K in guns. They got video. Okay. Don't know about that yet. Okay. Got to take somebody out. Lake Rose at Mount Lemon. I was trying to think of that. Yeah. Oh, I'm not trying to delete you. I'm trying to put you in timeout. Gosh, YouTube, get it together. Thank you, Greebird. I just have to live this way every day. You know, every day's a gift. But I just wish I did feel better. It would be easier for me to make longer videos too, and get out and make, the kind of videos I want to make. Yeah, he's gone. Don't worry about it. Wow, 65 people in the room, and I've already gone overtime. I had to work this out for my mom after she retired at 65. Medical cost her 185 a month additional to Medicare. Get facts straight. Yeah, my pharmacy now, because I get it early because of my disability from the cancer. Because I've been close to dead like 50 times already. My pharmacy now, the copay is $2,100 a year, and that doesn't include what is Medicare now, like 200 some dollars a month. And when they base your other benefits, they don't count the fact that they're taking that 200 and some dollars out, nor do they count the fact that they're taking the 2,100 out. I don't have 2,100. Uh, Burns my taters. Me too, Jay. Oh, thank you for the Sunday Kelsers. Any new news? Not since yesterday. I had a couple videos yesterday. If you haven't seen them, but this video you'll need to watch the beginning. Trying to go over like from A to Z what happened with those ransoms and the confusion about her being dead or not dead, and where the case is currently at. Um, yeah, if you'd like to see the good emojis, the custom emojis, you have to be a member, Hobble One, or you can just use the free ones provided by YouTube. Yeah, the healthcare here is worse than in some third world countries that I know. Um, but that's just my opinion, and we're not going to get political today. Remember, no politics, no religion. Oh, thank you, Kathy Doherty. Mostly Dallas Helicopters putting up some of the custom emojis. Thank you so much. Oh, and Mostly Dallas Helicopters, I know you weren't here earlier. I did thank you for that membership. I just noticed it last night on the back end because YouTube never notifies me when I get a new member. They never send a notification or an email that you've received a new member. So I didn't even know that. I always do my updates on my Excel sheet, and I go through the super chats, especially since one is still missing. Two videos are now still effed because YouTube last night admitted that they're having these issues and their engineers are working on it. But they decided to screw me on my, the one that I had the most views as far as alive. Now you guys can still see it, but I can't do anything with it on the back end. I can't link it to anything. I couldn't link it to that day's highlight, which was Sunday, and now it's Wednesday. They totally screwed me on that. And, I've only got 6 days to go uh, on the royalties and the finances for what's going to set my July check. A lot of frustration this week with YouTube. Oh, Kathy Doherty says the female detective. Yeah, if I could get my hair cut like it normally is, that one actually looks like me. That looks like me more than what you're seeing on screen, actually. uh, exactly, Greybird. No politics, religions. We do talk UFOs here, but not just today. Thank you for the gold coin sent by Mostly Dolls Helicopters coming in with the jewel. Jay says, 59 years old. I've had 11 strokes, disabled. My insurance costs $225 plus Medicare supplement. Disgusting. Absolutely. I agree with you, Jay. It's disgusting. Uh, Greg, I'm going to have to pause you for today. See you tomorrow. Margaret, thank you for sending the floating heart. Appreciate that. We're up to 494 in, I'm up to 494 in rubies. Thank you. Would it help if we sent the big YouTube video to you? No, I can see it. I can see it on the main end, but I can't see it on the back end. I can't put the description in. I can't link it to the live highlights because they don't show it on the back end. So I can't just put the URL into the live highlight and say, go here. It has to, they actually have thumbnails and you have to click on it and say, link this video. So no, you guys can watch it. It's the Sunday video with the 20,000, but I'm already screwed now because it wasn't even showing right away on your end. And so all of a sudden it went from 8,000 to 20,000 and then everything died. And it's taken 3 reps and 3 days for YouTube to admit that, yeah, they're having problems. Well, they've had nothing but problems since I got monetized. Even before I got monetized, my February 8th video on Carlos Palazuelos, that's in the Nancy Guthrie playlist, it still hasn't processed yet. It's processing since February. But now one of the videos, the one from Sunday, which would have been my biggest live, is not even showing on the back end. And they tried to tell me, like, well, it's a long one and you had a lot of people, and I had nothing to do with it. I do 2-hour videos all the time, and they load, and within 24 hours there's a chat. Couldn't do anything. And it's been very discouraging this week because I've had the most viewers in the last 28 days that I've ever had in a 28-day period, but the residuals are going down. Now, I've heard a rumor, and a lot of YouTubers have said this because I watch a lot of videos on this to learn from other people. Always learn from the people that are successful. That's how I became a good metal detectorist, because I would watch the old people and I would make friends with them and talk to them back when I was, young. When I was in my 40s, I would talk to the people that were out there in their 60s and 70s, and that's where I learned the most from. So I've watched a lot of videos, and there is, and I believe there's truth to this, that it's very important to make a lot of videos around the holidays, especially November and December in particular, because the advertisers, the people that are basically, putting the money into YouTube, the advertisers, they have to pay more. They have to pay more to get their ads out there during the holidays. Just like if you have even one of those little carts that's in a shopping mall, and they're like, let's say they're 2,000 a month. But in our local mall, this was years ago, from September, October, November, December, then it's like 8,000 a month to have one of those little teeny carts that sells like, keychains or cell phone covers, like, how do you make any money if you have to pay 8,000 a month in rent and you can't afford any employees and you can't even like close your booth to go to the restroom? Like, that's because the rents go up in the shopping malls from September on. That's why they start putting the holiday decorations in the department stores back in the old days as early as Labor Day or the day after Labor Day. Well, apparently YouTube is the same way. The advertisers, the commercials you see on the monetized videos, they they have to pay a lot more to YouTube to get those videos posted, those ads posted. So supposedly, if you're a YouTuber and you're monetized, they encourage you, or at least the fellow creators encourage you, to put up as many videos as you can during the holidays. Like from like Thanksgiving on. Just slam the videos out there. Just keep going. Just work harder than you've ever worked, because when you start seeing your January check at the end of January, it can be quite um, large compared to your yearly checks that come every month, um, assuming you met the monthly minimums. So, but for me, with my health, that's too far away. Don't know if I'll still be standing at that point. I hope so. I want to be positive, especially now that, I have all you guys in my corner. Well, most of you. Um, Crazy just got kicked off, not because of you. It's because they don't want you or us to know the truth. No, it's because YouTube is having issues this week, major issues, and last week too. Oh, that's just behind me, the Tiffany lamp. Yeah, it comes and goes. And if I have it pointed this way, sometimes a picture of my deceased friend that's on my shelf that is no way in the line of sight of the camera magically shows up. And she's smiling at all of us. For real. And everybody's like, who's the pretty lady in the picture? Oh, Suzanne, I agree. Positive. You have to think positive. Positive thinking and prayer. I had to go today and get some tests done. Never fun, Ash Cash. And that reminds me, I did call the oncology office and I, very politely told them, listen, I've been trying to get this order pushed through since February. Now I don't need the test until the end of August, but I can't schedule the appointment because Medicare won't pay for it without an order from a doctor. And they said, we'll contact the doctor to take the hold off of this in 24 hours. That was Monday. It's Wednesday. I haven't heard back. So I have to choose my battles. I'm still battling with the sticker company too. That's a big problem still. I've got half of my money back, and today they sent me the stickers I never ordered, and I can't show them to you because they're not the correct ones. And I didn't approve those. I didn't approve any of the orders. And now they act like they're doing me a favor that they gave me half of the money back on the one order. Like, but I didn't make an order. So I'm waiting to hear the next email from them. We'll send them back to Vermont. That'll take another week to 10 days to get there. And then I'll have to wait another, 5 business days to see if it's going to show up on my bank account. It's just, it seems like all I do is handle errors. And then we have the YouTube issues, like, and my biggest video for all the ones to not have processed properly, the biggest one that I've had is just disheartening. Uh, Hubble, one, am I the only person on earth who has no desire to go to Vegas? No, I have no desire to go there either, and I have family there. Um, but we're talking about Nancy Guthrie. At least that's what we're supposed to be talking about. But I'm just getting you caught up on the back end. Like YouTube, they didn't notify me that Mostly Bell's Helicopters joined and became a member 2 days ago. I had no clue. I had to see it on the back end. In fact, I'm going to check the back end now. See if anybody might have come in during this chat. I don't think so because it would pop up on my screen, I think. Yeah, don't see anybody. And also, they had told me before that happened, they had told me that I have to have 8 more members to even have 1 more emoji to go from 10 to 11, and now that number changed. So I was like, "Oh, I did get a new member. Who was it?" Because now it says you need 7 more paid members, to be able to open up your 11th custom emoji. Oh gosh. Uh, but thank you mostly, Dell's Helicopters. Okay, Kelsers, have a good dinner. Thanks for coming. She's saying hi. Yeah, sometimes she does. If you haven't seen the video, go see my video. Go to my Rest in Peace playlist and see her video. Oh, hi, SR71 girl. Yeah, a lot's happened since yesterday. You need to see the 2 videos from yesterday. And then today's video, I'm just trying to clear up some of this confusion. And it's too much to just like go over it again. But watch yesterday's videos and then today's video and you'll be caught up. Unless something has happened when I've been off the air. Or I mean when I've been on the air. Hobble one says, "Well, I just hope they can find where Nancy is." Me too. Yeah, we're not talking politics today. Yeah, sorry. It's a lot to talk about. Lots happened since yesterday. Lots come out. Savannah hasn't confirmed or denied any of it, but it's pretty obvious that it's true based on the chronological order of the events that have occurred. 60 people in the house, 65 thumbs up. If you guys haven't thumbs up, please give it a thumbs up. I hope you guys are subscribed. I'll go to my dashboard and see where I'm at right now. Gotta look around the camera though. 3497. Wow, I'm only 3 away from 3,500. Let's get it to 3,500, people. Kathy Doherty, exactly. God bless Nancy. Hashtag justice for Nancy. Mostly Doll's Helicopter sent the GG. Thank you. We're up to 499 in rubies. So you guys, you can send the jewels, and then they convert to rubies. So something like for every 2 pennies that you send, the channel gets 1 penny and YouTube gets the other penny. And it's hard to talk about Nannus without getting political. We're not talking about him. We're talking about Nancy Guthrie. This video is not about Nannus. This video is about Nancy Guthrie. Oh, what is that? Oh, I don't even. I've never seen that. What is that? It's still covering the screen. Let me see. The finger heart. Oh my gosh, that's awesome. Josh or Jose? Is it Jose? Josh? Josh Browser or Brazard? Why do I have problems with your name? Is it short for like Jocelyn? Cool hand snap. That's cool. I never saw that one before. And then who sent me earlier? The one with the cat who's like the DJ spinning the records? That's awesome too. Hey, Maggie. Jane Rice says nice. Yeah, that was a cool one. I've gotten some good ones today. Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, I've got 6 days left to get the totals up for June. And then, once it's all calculated like the first week of July, it still takes another 3 weeks. So, excuse me, hydrating. This makes me really sad because I've thought from the beginning that she was already deceased from very early on. I don't think she was deceased at the house, but I think she was deceased shortly after they took her, and it kind of ruined their whole plan, and everything just went south from that point, and then all communication stopped, and it's just really, really sad. Like I said, we talked about Fargo a lot, and I talked about, what I think really happened in JonBenet Ramsey without being too specific because that's still an active criminal investigation. Even though, this Christmas, this holiday, think about it. It's already June. It's already summer. Like, I've been getting the Halloween ads since April. Pretty soon the Christmas stuff will be in the dang stores. Like, it's not going to be that far from the fall to the winter. And then we'll be hitting the 30-year mark on JonBenet Ramsey, which is just incredible to me. Margaret sent the party hat. Thank you, Margaret. Hey, V Miss. You've missed a lot, but you can always go back on the replay. And I got to get rid of this paper. I got so much paper around my desk, and it just like, as I'm typing this stuff up and printing it out, I just start sneezing before I come on the air, and then my face and my nose starts itching. And I notice that on the replays, I'm always doing this, and I'm itching. I'm literally itching. Thank you, Rita Close, for sending the gold coin. Thank you for coming, Julie Lynn. If you want to see anything on JonBenet, I do have a recent live video that's regarding the death of the housekeeper, Linda Hoffman Pugh. It's quite interesting. In fact, it's so interesting that I may rewatch that video tonight myself. It's not a long form content, but it is alive, and it talks about the recent death in May of the housekeeper. But I can't get too much into that case just because it's still actively being investigated, from what I've been told. You know what, Jay? I can't take anything with all my heart drugs. I can't even take a vitamin without approval from a cardiologist. I can't even have a dental appointment without a signed letter from a cardiologist. So, um, there's nothing. I'm on so much medication. There's no way I want to add another pill. I would rather suffer. I don't know. I've always wondered that. Am I allergic to ink or the component in the paper? I don't know because I've never been tested. That's because, that's a green screen behind me. Someone asked, "How are you in the desert?" I'm not, I'm in Los Angeles. It's actually a green screen. See you later, Hobble One, thanks for coming. And I can change it too. We can go from the desert, we can go to the stars at night, we can go to Hollywood, we can go to LAX, we've been to New York. We go all over the place, whatever's relating to the current video. That is Tucson. As far as I know, Brian. Yeah, this is really sad. This is awful. Poor Savannah. Poor everybody involved in this. But, theoretically speaking, when you think about realistically speaking, there's no way I'm going to be able to come on every single day and make a video about this. Jay, you and I would get along so well if we were neighbors because we're like, I mean, you have your medical issues and I have mine. And I'm obviously not going to discuss yours here, but um, we would get along. Oh, Rose says she takes 9 a day. It's sad. I just, I want to have more energy because when I have these different tests and they're like, "Oh, you're doing so well, or you're doing better, or you're doing fine," and I'm like, Okay, but why do I feel so bad? May I ask a question about how was dinner last night? You talked about the smell. Oh, that was the oven. Yeah, I turned on the oven after I got off the second live, and I had a turkey burger. It was good. I don't even know how many I take because there's the morning ones, there's the mid-afternoon ones, and there's the evening ones. And I'm getting real tired of that pill alarm that goes off on the phone. Yeah, me too. And my Thai friend, she lives quite far from me now, and between that and her taking care of the grandkids every day, and she's just so physically, like, exhausted all the time, it's really, like, wounded our friendship because we can't see each other as often as we used to. Yeah, we used to be together, hang out almost every single day of our lives, even when we were both working full time, but, time and health and just doesn't allow that anymore. Yeah, whatever your doctor says to do it, Jay. It's hard for me to just sit at my desk, especially I have a very bad spine, and it's been bothering me the last few days. I've done some other projects at my desk, and just sitting at my desk is really bad for me. But if I sit on the sofa and I put my head, I don't wanna show you exactly, but if I lean my head too far back, then it triggers, a vertigo episode. And I talked to the cardiologist about that, even though he's just a heart doctor, and he's like, "Yeah, that vertigo stuff can be tricky." You think? And then one of the nurses at the hospital had told me within the last year, she said, "Heart things are always tricky, and this may be the new you." You too, Julie. Have a good night. Rose says, OBO or OBO, OBE. Don't know what that means. Heart, hot heart. Why do I get dyslexic on here? Trouble and being tested for polymyalgia, and also to see if acid reflux has damaged my esophagus. Yeah, I have that too. I have that hole in the stomach. Yes, I've had a bad back and neck and get dizzy from it at times. Yep, it's not one thing, it's another. And I'm going to spend my whole summer fighting my oncology office to get my test. If that's not stressful enough, just having to schedule it, go there, be in the same place where I was diagnosed with breast cancer and hope for the best, but having to fight, always having to fight the battle. I'm having to fight the battle this week with YouTube, with them, literally, screwing up my 20,000K live, um, taking my super chat. And I did hear back from Google today because finally YouTube stopped dealing with it and they sent me directly to Google and they just wrote me a nice little email like, yeah, super chats, those are important and things can be frustrating, but they never said, how can we help you or how can we fix this? So now I'm going to have to start over again and go back to YouTube and say, listen, uh, you know, I've talked to two reps here. Then you sent me to Google. They didn't do anything. What are you going to do about this? And they're like, do you have a screenshot? Can you prove it? How can I take a screenshot when I'm doing a vertical live? Unless I get a second phone. Now, if I eventually made more money on this channel, I'd probably go out and buy a second phone. And every time somebody would send me a chat, I would have to say, hold on, please. Pretend this is a phone and hold it up and go, you know, that's ridiculous that I would have to do that to prove that, you know, and that user she's one of my best followers and she sent me gifts off the Amazon wish list. She sent me Venmos, but I guarantee you she's never going to send another super chat because she's been charged for that and I didn't get it. She will be scared to do it. And so that now compromises my future income from that subscriber on this channel because that happened. And she thinks she did something wrong, and she didn't. Uh, Rose Margaret. We're all falling apart. Mind you, I am 69. Vertigo started after you had your son. That's interesting. Mine started like 10 years ago and went away after a couple days. And then in April 2025, it came back, and I've had it off and on ever since. And on those days, I can't even drive. So people are like, "Hey, did you go to the mailbox and pick up your gifts yet?" Well, I can't drive today. And then the pharmacy is texting me 20 times a day. You better pick this up by this time, or we're putting it back on the shelf. And I'm like, oh my God, how am I? It's 4 blocks away. How am I going to drive there? How am I going to walk without falling down in the store and hitting my head? Hussafel, you're the second person that's come in today that's said something that something's getting ready to break. Hi, April. Heard an update on Nancy Guthrie case. Where did you hear this from, Hussafel? Please put that in the chat. They believe a confession is coming soon. Son-in-law, last person to see Nancy. Can be 1,000 different things, Brian. Vertigo's horrible. Yeah, like I don't already have enough on my plate. It's like the nurses at the hospital said, well, first breast cancer, and now your heart. Like that's why when older people get old and they start talking about like the negativity around their death and how they just want to have a nice rest, I understand that. And that's why the living, when they bury their dead, say rest in peace. OBE means Order of the British Empire. Okay, I don't think we were talking about that. Hey, MView. Cozy Sunflower says she's only 38. Bless you. Enjoy your youth. Where are you hearing this, Hussafel? Because somebody else, I can't recall who it was because I've been on here for 103 minutes, said that something was getting ready to break. Where are you hearing this? Because remember, there's a lot of inaccurate information out there. That is true. Allegedly, the last person to see her was her son-in-law. And that was on January 31st. But based on the camera information at the front door and when her heart pacemaker didn't stop but it unsynced, her missing date is believed to be February 1st. I don't know what you're talking about, Brianna. Oh, I'd like to hear from Hussafel. What is this most recent information? Because I've had people come into my lives before and say things, and it turns out to be completely not true. Like, oh, Annie's in handcuffs and she's already been arrested. Not true. TMZ and the FBI. Okay, you mean today? Like TMZ today? Because I just watched TMZ before I came on the air, but like yesterday, I was on the air and they apparently were coming out with a new statement. So then I had to make a second video, which means I guess I better hurry up and get off the air if I'm gonna have to make another video later tonight. God forbid. Let's see. I'm going to TMZ right now, but I have to move this because I can't see around it. Investigators not closing in on suspect, and it's in big black bold letters. Let me move my camera. Hold on. See if I can. Now I'm crooked here. Okay. All I'm going to read because I don't want to have to turn my head this way. The suspect in Nancy Guthrie's abduction case is not on the brink, and they spelled it wrong, They said not on the brink. I think they meant on the brink of being taken into custody despite a former FBI agent's claim to the contrary. Okay. We will see. Uh, yeah. I don't think anything has changed since I got on the air. But we'll find out. I will follow. I'm always following the news on this. I mean, yesterday they acted like, okay, we're calling Harvey Levin to tell him not to do the documentary and don't pay the one Bitcoin ransom guy because we're working on a lead. But then if you listen to today's news, it sounds like they're waiting for a tip from a significant other of one of the perps because apparently they haven't gotten very far with the rootless hair strand. And I told you months ago, if they're just waiting on this rootless hair strand to solve this case, then we're in trouble. Yes, I did. I have videos on that. And that was actually yesterday morning. And then more information came while I was on the air. So I had subsequent video. So if you want to catch up, watch the 2 lives from yesterday and then rewatch the beginning of this live. And you'll be caught up to speed on the Nancy Guthrie case. Unless something is breaking right now as I'm talking to you. Have we reached 3,500 yet? Nope, we're still stuck at 3,497. Oh, and this is why is this? I don't understand why this happens. Can you see that on your end, anybody? You see the little goal button where it says 2 out of 10? And it says the goal ended, start another goal. Does that flash on your screen or is it just on my screen that I see a flash? Because it's like it's reminding me like, hey, 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 I've been dead closed for a while. I'm just gonna say horns. I'm gonna shorten it because I'm going off the air soon. No flash. Okay. I don't know why that does that on my end. I guess it's trying to tell me, the creator, that I need to fix that because I only had it set for an hour, which is 60 minutes, and I'm already up to 108 minutes. So maybe it's trying to tell me like, hey, for the last 45 plus minutes, you haven't had a goal set. Like, but that's how fast the time goes by. That's why I intentionally set it for like 30 minutes or an hour or 15 because when that thing goes off, I want to go, oh, okay, now, this is where I'm going to end the video today. It says 2 out of 10, then 0 out of 10. Yeah, that's just because it just changed to 0 because I reset it. Oh, mostly Dallas helicopters. Not even necessary. You've already contributed a lot today through your other super chat and through your jewels, but I'll take it. The third super chat of the day and the first super chat of the 15-minute goal. Yeah, because I just reset it because it was flashing at me. But apparently, from what all you guys have told me, even when the goal ends, things can still be sent. But I kind of don't like the way they set that up because people think, oh, time expired and it's too late to send. And nobody has to send anything. Just, keep watching my videos and go to my actual video tab that's on my main channel page. Go to the video tab, go to the shorts tab, go to the playlist tab. This is not just a true crime channel. This is about my life since recovering from breast cancer. And I'm still recovering and still suffering side effects. So it's a full-time job for me for the rest of my life. Not just during the treatment, but it's a full-time job and I'm trying to just slide this into my day because it helps me take my mind off of things and it lets me film. And, I miss filming for my PI days. But go watch all the videos. Yeah, I'm very pro animal rights here, Brianna. I missed your comment. Okay, let me go back. Okay, thank you for letting me know that. I didn't see it. There's only like a small part that shows up on my screen. Some YouTube channel 14 hours ago saying Nancy's daughter and son-in-law asked Nancy for a loan and she said no. Okay, that's been talked about since the beginning of this case, and that one of her neighbors or one of her church friends leaked that information, but we don't know that it's true. And I also talked about the second mortgage from the very beginning, and no other YouTubers like piggybacked on that story, but that's because probably nobody was watching me. And I'm not important. I'm not a successful YouTuber, so the bigger channels are not going to say, "Oh, April Davis said that, so now I'm going to go look into that." It doesn't work that way. But I do appreciate all of you that have come to watch me from the very start. And all the new people that are coming in as well. And now YouTube wants me to mention at least once during a live, they want me to mention the membership. So you don't have to become a membership, but if you do become a member, you will get access to the channel emojis and other benefits. Okay, AJ, you need to call 911 or go see a doctor. But we can't do that for you. Your head hurts. You have a metallic taste in your mouth. Sounds like you need to go to the emergency room. But we're not doctors here. No medical advice, everybody. We will not be giving medical advice or talking politics or religion. But if you're being truthful, AJ, yeah, go get yourself taken care of. Yeah, Jay, she says heard that a lot. You mean about the loan? No, we're not going to give out any medical advice. Just go get yourself checked. Just like I'm not going to tell you who my suspects have been since the second week of this case. And since I'm not investigating this case and I don't have access to information that the police and the FBI has, we will see if I'm right. But I do have very strong feelings about front porch guy, and if it's not who I think it could be, that person is still involved. And my only question are the yahoos that went out to the house to do the crime, are they working as a group together or are they working underneath a puppet master? Like those were just the paid yahoos. Kind of like, the kidnappers in the movie Fargo. They were just the paid yahoos, and so many people died in that movie. And that was just a movie, but things like that do happen. Remember the John Benet Ramsey kidnapping, and yes, it was intended originally as a kidnapping, didn't go very well. Because when suspects bring in the worker bees, things can go wrong. Criminals are not very smart. I doubt it. Don't be a knucklehead, Dutch. Boy, the things we have heard on here. I'll tell you what didn't happen. No, Savannah's not involved in this case. No, I am not the daughter of Nancy Guthrie. No, I have never met Savannah. Although she was a mile down the street from my house last week doing some work over at NBC. But no, I don't know Savannah. I know a couple people who do, but I don't know those people well. And I'm not trying to get her any messages. Please don't anybody try to contact Savannah. And the rumor about Kayla Day being Nancy's grand niece, that's not true. Or that she's Savannah's first cousin once removed, that's not true. A lot of people seem to think that front porch guy was female. I don't believe that at all. But although I do admit that the guy had the metrosexual, features. You're living in a fantasy world, Dutch. But apology will be given if that's the situation. Yeah, this we're only here to talk serious things. This is a very serious crime. I mean, I know sometimes we need a little humor in it. If you want humor, go watch JLR. Go watch one of those knuckleheads. They're on boots on the ground. You know, you'd probably enjoy the show. But this is just real facts from a real Hollywood PI. Oh, okay. Says there's 6 minutes left. I've gone way too long. Yes, this is a very strange one, Mimi. This is really a mystery. We all said this the first week of this mystery case. Yeah, there's nothing about this case that's typical or normal. But remember, she was the 84-year-old mother of Today Show co-host Savannah Guthrie, who is a very famous and wealthy celebrity. And this is a very hard neighborhood to navigate. Even with GPS, it's hard to navigate. I have met a person who lives 2 blocks from this house on my channel. It's black, it's dark at night, even with full moon. With all the security systems or lack thereof, whatever was around that house or in that house, someone doing this had to have intimate knowledge, in my humble opinion. Yes, Rose, it's extremely frustrating, especially with the Pima County Sheriff originally leading this investigation and not allowing the FBI in. And I'm not that high on the FBI either, but they got more resources than the local departments. Thank you, July. There it is. I have invested a lot in this case. A lot of blood, sweat, and tears, I have to tell you. Make sure you guys watch both lives. The thumbnails are similar from yesterday, but one has the TMZ breaking news on the thumbnail and the other one doesn't. It was suggested this morning the female shadow figure in the video was Savannah. Absolutely not. She was in New York, and she got on a plane and flew from New York to Tucson when she heard about this. It will be a relief to have closure, and it also it may reopen a lot of wounds, especially if it does turn out that somebody close to the family is involved. And I'm not saying family, but I'm saying, someone in that inner circle. If somebody in that inner circle is involved, somebody very close in that inner circle, I don't think Savannah will ever get over it. And I hope Savannah's right when she strongly, firmly believes that her family's not involved. I hope she's right because she knows more about this than we do. But I hope she's not living in a fantasy world. And I'm not saying that I think that they're involved at all. I'm not saying that at all. I've never named a suspect here. I really want Nancy brought home for Savannah. Me too. In spirit, she's already come home. And we've already seen some evidence of that if you watch some of the boots on the ground. She's come home. I mean, where else would she go at this point? Hopefully, she'll be spending eternity in the spirit world with her husband, Charles. The lights, yeah. And I don't mean the second set of lights, Rose, but the first set during the recreation. That was just pretty unbelievable. I'm not saying anything horrible. We just, common sense that there's a 99.9% chance, 99.99% chance that she's no longer with us. Yeah, we have a lot of people that come in and out in July, so some of those people that were here previously, may have already thumbs it up. That's why the numbers look upside down. And I am gonna catch up tonight on the back end, hopefully, and put some things up on the community tab. But thank you for everybody that came today. It says I have a minute left. 1 minute left on the clock. Thank you for the 689 in jewels. Thank you for the 2317 in the super chats. Appreciate that. Thanks for watching. Thanks for commenting. Make sure you go see both lives from yesterday and you rewatch at least the beginning of this one if you want to be completely caught up. Hey, Leanne, I've got less than a minute left here. Well, there's a lot of sick people in the world. Renee asked, why do some people commit crimes? Thank you, Nathan. 13 seconds to go, everybody. I want everybody to have a good evening. And we'll just wait for the next part of this to break. Hashtag justice for Nancy.